Fellow South Africans, I think most of you there are synonymous with this beginning of a speech or a statement. It is synonymous with South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa on or before he addresses the nation with regards to the lockdown. So you can see I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's quite creased. I haven't ironed it. And I haven't shaved in a while. My beard and my bald patch are starting to appear. I'm wearing track suits because I'm at home. I've been at home for a while now. There was a 21-day lockdown initially, which was extended by an additional 2 weeks, and then which ratcheted to level 4 and ratcheted to level 3. There was a lot of hullabaloo and how people feel about it. I mean, everyone knows it's in the media. I won't discuss that for the purpose of this discussion. So the purpose of my short video is to have a look at the timeline or the sequence of events at which people experienced the lockdown. So on the 15th of March, Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, he made a speech to say, look, people must start washing their hands, to try and stay at home, etc., etc., and that was fine. And then 7 days later, he made an announcement that there would be a lockdown 4 days after that. So naturally, when people hear of that, we've never heard of a lockdown before. We've seen what was happening in the countries, etc., but we've never had it before. Probably in terms of South African history, the only lockdown was just the fact that foreign countries during apartheid decided not to support South Africa economically. So it was like an economic type of lockdown of some sort. But this one is a health-based one. But let's speak about, the feelings that you had. Initially, you were like, no, this is not right. Why are my rights being infringed, etc.? Others were like, let's go stock up on. Now, when I look at it, it's non-essential things. People started buying toilet paper. People started buying alcohol, those who knew what was coming. And others bought cigarettes in bulk, etc. Many people bought nice things like chips and sweets, etc., not knowing that, the 21 days would be extended. Then the lockdown came. I myself was pondering on being in a secret location to lock down in another place other than where I am, but that didn't happen. I've been in this room, in this flat, for 63 days now. The only time I went out was when I got when we hit level 3. Then I drove home to see the parents if they're okay. Also, keeping my distance, etc., etc. Obviously, I was doing it within the scope of work because I had a work permit to go and see them. But there are some lessons in this, One of the lessons is there anyone who's taking notes of how, one, you as an individual have reacted to a crisis? Because this is a crisis. And what is a crisis? It's an unknown event that could disturb you, your life, your work, anything, and you need to manage that, So having been through the COVID-19 lockdown, which we are still under, because the coronavirus or COVID-19 has not ended, but the reaction of the government has loosened down to say, okay, it's no longer restricted as it should. So for 21 days and then an additional 14 days, we had to stay at home, literally. And we could not go outside. You can't even cut your grass. You could only go out to buy food. And when you walked into the mall, you were welcomed by a security guard with a hand sanitizer. And then you were welcomed by lines in the queue. And there was a queue marshal for the first time in supermarkets and other stores. So you would go to your local shop, maybe your Pick and Pay, and you get there. Between 7 and 8 is preferences given to pensioners. which is very important because, I mean, Africa as a continent and South Africa as a country, we do value our elderly and we do appreciate the wisdom that they bring, and we do know that they are likely to fall more tired when in the queue. So these are some of the things, and then you go into the shop, there's less than 100 people in the shop, and you literally have to have a list. So that taught us to know that what is essential and what is not. Then you do your groceries, you go back home, you wash your hands, you wipe the groceries before you put them in the cupboard, and then you carry on with your day. On a jobs front, as you know, I'm an HR professional. It taught us a bit of knowing what is essential and what is not essential, because there were categories of employees that were deemed essential and not essential. So when you look at this category of employees, most of them are health workers, security services, including police and soldiers, and then you've got health professionals, which is your nurses and your doctors. But surprisingly, you've got municipal workers who are sweeping the streets, who are collecting the rubbish tirelessly day in, day out, and they are essential. Little did I know that they are, because the manner in which society treats these people, you would think that they are not essential. Also, there are industries that you will find that were not operating during the initial lockdown because they were not essential. Food delivery was not essential. Cooked or prepared food is not essential. Some Wi-Fi installation, etc., not essential. The list of categories goes on and on and on. And some employees, even at the workplace, took salary cuts because they were not essential. For instance, a company would hire people, and maybe there's a sales department or a client-facing department. Because they are an income-generating department, they would not suffer as much salary deductions as other departments. So maybe they take a 10% knock. Then the support staff, which is maybe your HR and admin, they'll take a 40% salary cut. Then anything that doesn't generate revenue is deemed to be non-essential, and therefore will take time off, will be laid off in terms of not working, no work, no pay. The interesting thing is, for the first time, I was not aware of the TERS fund. Well, it was a new fund because we've got what we call the Unemployment Insurance Fund in South Africa. It's an agency of the Department of the Department of Labor. It has billions of rands in it because everyone who is employed in South Africa contributes 1% of their salary, and the employer contributes another 1%. So it has lots of money in there. It has been used for people who take either maternity leave, unpaid, or adoption leave, or any type of reason that makes a person not draw an income, but they were previously drawing an income, can then apply to the UIF, including if you are retrenched but not resigning, or if you've left your job voluntarily. So yes, people were making submissions to that, and it was quite good. It was novel announcement by the president, and then people started applying for it, and also the social relief fund in terms of the 350 rand. So these are some of the things that people need to take note of, so that when we have a situation like this in the future, we're able to reflect in terms of how you as an individual reacted, and your family. I know that people are staying at home with their kids now. It has never been seen before, never been heard before, that you are spending a whole 7 days and 7 nights and a whole month with your kids, or with your spouse, or with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or alone. There are some social elements that are creeping up in terms of how do I put this in sociology terms? There's risky behavior that is happening in terms of sexual risky behavior and drug abuse, or maybe laundering of counterfeit alcohol and cigarettes. No. But there's people who are facing anxiety, depression. They are all alone. They can't do anything. They feel their rights have been taken away, granted. But The question I still ask, is there anyone taking notes of what is happening now? Because remember, in terms of medical history, there have been flus before, there have been viruses before, and the most common or the closest type of virus that is next to or is compared to corona is the flu in 1918. There were people who took notes then. 1918 was almost 100 years ago. And what will happen in the next 50 or 100 years? Is there anyone taking notes of what is happening? If not, are you taking notes? Am I taking notes? Am I able to reflect on how I've reacted to the virus compared to other people? And then have I been able to identify who am I in the virus, in the crisis? I do hope that everyone is able to survive the virus, and myself too, as I'm staying at home. But yes, I just wanted to have that conversation. One, a timeline of the sequence of events in terms of the COVID-19 lockdown in South Africa. Two, is there anyone taking notes of what is happening in order for the next generation or the future to be able to take on that? All right, let's speak about other things now. I'm done speaking about the serious things. Check you on the comments, and thank you.